What's up guys, and welcome to Void of Dust Gaming, your channel for fresh Arena of Valor content. After I've done a series on some of the mage characters, today's video is going to focus on the top 5 marksmen in the game, and those 5 marksmen are going to be Hayate, Elsu, Thorne, Capheny and Tel'Annas to complete the top 5. Hayate is a really nimble and mobile champion with great damage. We've got Elsu with long range support. We've got Thorne, who is some kind of unique playstyle because of the different types of bullets that he can choose, so you have some kind of measure for every situation. We've got Capheny, who is a crit monster since she has been introduced to the game. That didn't really change. And I have taken Tel'Annas as one of my top 5 choices because she's actually quite beginner friendly, because she's got long range and some nice tools, and you see her a lot on the battlefield. So I thought this might just be the perfect case to talk about some of the builds. So what you guys are going to actually see in this video is the main build that I have chosen for every aspect of those heroes. And then in addition, we are going to talk about some strengths and weaknesses for each respective hero. And then afterwards, I've got some gameplay highlight things in addition, so that you can actually see how good these champions were in the games that I've been playing them. So without further ado, if you like this kind of content, remember to put a thumbs up and a comment underneath those videos, because it helps me to grow the channel. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel and you think this kind of content is especially informative, remember to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell to never miss any of these basic videos, because there are going to be a lot of them in the future. So this is something that I'm going to continue for different kinds of classification and roles in the game. So let's get started with Hayate. So I have already done this for Hayate in one of my former videos, where I was talking about my top choices in the current meta, where I had been talking about the different roles. So I was talking about support role, the jungle role and the marksman role, and Hayate was my choice for the overall top meta choice, because he's not only really good in countering different other marksmen, but he's also quite good on shredding armor, and he's also really good on getting all those pesky mages that you face in every single game. And that is because Hayate is super mobile. He has a spell that makes him teleport through obstacles and everything. He has an ult that makes him teleport and dish out tremendous amounts of damage. He has a ability which, with his S1, that can shoot through targets, so it's going to pierce through targets. And then he has this unique ability where he's going to load up stacks, and he can inflict true damage that can also crit. Therefore, his build is tweaked around several indications. The first of all is that you want to build up some additional crit. You can see that I have been building the Cleave Sancti, because it's going to enhance your crit chance, but also enhancing your crit damage. Then we go with Fafnir's for some additional life gain and some attack damage and some attack speed. Indicating by that, with Dragon's Breath, you are also dealing additional physical damage up to 8% of the target's coverage HP, which is actually quite a lot. Then of course we're building the attack boots to increase our damage in terms of the attack speed even further. In addition to that, I'm building Slick Stings for some additional critical chance, some movement speed and some attack speed, also getting some needed resistance. And then we are building a special item with Yoga's Edge, because you are going to deal tremendous amounts of damage because of all that crit things from your passive. That Hayate is one of the few champions that can actually take some utility item. In this case, I'm taking Yoga's Edge, and it's not about the armor magic defense or the max HP, which are also quite handy, but it's about the biting cold. Normal attacks reduce the target's movement speed by 25%, and then in addition to that, we're taking Blade of Eternity so that we can be resurrected. Enchantment-wise, I think the most important thing is to go with Holy Summoner, because that just means that you're going to dish out additional attacks. And then we're going with Raging Inferno and the Holy Verdict here to get more physical penetration. Enhanced Restore to be a little bit more survivable or durable. And then the last one is Minion Kill to be a little bit faster when it comes to clearing in the laning phase. And Arcana wise, I'm going with Atrocity to boost our critical chance by 16%. Guerrilla for some movement speed and attack speed, because more attack speed just means that you can crit more often. And last but not least, we're going with Skewer for some needed armor pierce right from the start. And you're going to take talent Purify, because it just means that crowd control effects don't really last that long on you, and you're free to charge again. If you're playing Hayate, the key to success is that you're going to take his mobility. So positioning is key, but you also have some measures in order to make your positioning a little bit better by teleporting with your S2. The most important thing is that you're going to take a closer look or be kind of aware of the fact that you need to build some stacks up when you hit enemies. You can see that by this little dragon indicator that's going to full up, and you should always use your ult when you have at least gained some stacks, because it just means that you're going to deal more damage, and that is basically the nature of Hayate and the secret to be able to dish out tremendous amounts of damage. My second hero of the top 5 is Elsu, a quite unique champion because he has great range with his snipe ability. He can put down some mines that grant you vision, which is actually super unique in Arena Valor, because there are not really that many sources that you can grant or get vision from. Elsu really profits from a support that's going to be quite offensive, because it just means that you will have more visibility. And equipment wise, you're going to build some kind of hybrid build between attack damage on the one hand with some armor pierce, and then you're going with some attack speed on the other hand with some lifelink. As you can see, we're building the attack boots. Then we're going with the new item Dawning Star. That's going to help us to improve our damage on the one hand and also physical penetration on the other hand. Favnius is also a really good item on him for additional attack damage, as well as the 8% that is going to be calculated towards the HP that the enemy has. Quite a stable item on him is the Tooth here, Fenrir's Tooth. With 200 normal attack, you're going to boost his normal attacks even further, and Elsu is one of the heroes in the Marksmen section that has a really strong auto attack, so make use of that. Don't only rely on your S2, but also try to get up front and use your auto attacks in order to take the fatal blow. And then we're taking Devil's Handshake, because it's just going to improve our damage output even further by kind of getting the attack speed on par, and then for some additional attack speed as well as some life gaining, we're taking the Blood Bow here. In the enchantment section, we're focusing on the League of Humans with Alchemy. It is not really a secret that Marksmen get better the more items you have, and with Alchemy we can ensure that you will have your items a little bit faster, because your gold income will be a little bit enhanced by Alchemy with Enhanced Restore and Minion Kill. You can also boost your minion wave management, but Elsu is actually quite good when you're using your S2 with it, and with Raging Inferno and Deadly Claw we are boosting our damage even further. In terms of the Arcana, I'm going with Onslaught. As I said, his auto attacks are actually quite powerful, therefore you want to try to boost them and get some additional armor pierce. We're going to take Assassinate for movement speed and normal attack increasement. As I said, normal attacks are actually quite powerful on him. And last but not least is actually Skewer to get some additional armor pierce on top of what you already taken from Onslaught. The talent that I would advise you to take on Elsu is Flicker, because you don't really have great measures to try to get away when your ult is on cooldown, so Flicker gives you the chance to either reposition yourself or try to disengage from a fight that you can't actually win, and that's all I've got to say about Elsu. So here's the next build, focusing Thorne, and Thorne has a really unique passive, and that is that Thorne can't benefit from cooldown mechanics, and that means that every single point of cooldown is going to be torn towards attack damage, and therefore we are focusing on a complete attack damage build, as you can see, because you get a lot of things from his different types of bullets. So he's got one bullet that slows down enemies, he's got one bullet that is going to trigger additional HP if you hit the enemies, and so on and so forth. So the equipment is basically, you've got the flashy boots, as they're going to grant you cooldown that transfers to attack damage. Then we go in with rank breaker for additional attack damage and some armor pierce. Omniums is a really specific weapon, but in this case it totally makes sense because you get attack damage, you get attack speed, you got cooldown reduction is also damage, you got more HP, and then you've got, after using a skill, the next normal attack is going to deal physical damage as well as reducing the movement speed of the enemies with the passive. Then we've got the Dawning Star and the Fenris 2 for additional damage. So this is a build that's focusing on getting the most damage out of any shot as possible, and if you ever happen to die, you've got Blade of Eternity to get you at least one normal or one new opportunity to get back into the fight and deal damage towards the enemies. Enchantment wise, we're going with the Shadow Blade because you've got a movement ability with your S1. Deadly Claw is there for additional damage, and then we've got the Mark here because the Curse of the Death is going to get some marks, and if you hit enemies in a short period of time, you're going to deal additional damage, which is actually quite normal on him because of the bullet mechanic that he's working with. And then we've got Acts of Sacrifice as well as the Holy Blessing, Holy Verdict for additional physical penetration. Arcana wise, I'm going with 2 times Atrocity. The rest of it is Onslaught, so we're boosting our crit a little bit, but the rest of it is going to get into the normal attack buff. As I said, normal attacks are his bread and butter, therefore you want to boost them as much as possible. The next item is going to be Guerrilla for some movement and attack speed increase, and last but not least, we've got Skewer for the additional armor pierce. So if you want to play, and of course we've got as a talent Flicker, because after his second ability has been put on cooldown, that's the only chance of getting away of fights. So if you want to play Thorne correctly or in the best possible manner, you need to focus on the different types of bullets. You can combine them, so you can have a yellow, a green and a purple bullet, or you can have just 3 purple bullets. It's basically depending on what you want to achieve by using the bullets, and you need to keep in mind, and that's a little bit of practice that's needed from you, that if you combine different types of bullets, they will have different effects. For example, I think if you combine the green and the purple bullet, you are not only slowing down enemies on the one hand, but you are also, oh no, it's the yellow and the purple one. You're not only slowing down enemies, but you're also going to have some kind of impact, so it's going to explode at a certain point whenever you hit with a bullet. But of course, the more bullets you use, and you can use up to 3, the faster your bullet meter is going to decrease. So if you want to only fight in the lane and you need your sustainability, always use just 1 or 2 bullets. But if you're really going in for a fight and you want to kill things, activate that 3rd bullet and go in for the kill, and things are going to look quite bright. So special character to play with, and it kind of needs some practice because this character plays like a kind of different AD carry or marksman, but it's totally worth on trying because this character makes so much fun, and that's all I have to say about Thorne. Alright, so here we are going to talk about Capheny, and Capheny is the speed enhancer, and her build plays a little bit different than the marksman that we have been talking about before, because Capheny is, no matter what other people say, the definition of crit damage, because she has a mechanic on her S1 that makes her crit a little bit more with a lot of different effects, and if you really want to know about it, just get that detailed page up and read through it, because it's actually a little bit overwhelming. It's a textbook that you need to understand in order to play that hero correctly. But let me tell you one thing, her crit is a little bit enhanced and she can deal additional damage with it, and that's everything you need to know about it. But if you want to have further information, check out the hero page for all the information in detail that you need to understand that hero. Because of her crit nature, what you can see is that we're building a new item on her that the other heroes haven't, which is the Gilded Greaves for additional crowd control resistance. And then we're going with Blitzblade, because Blitzblade is not only getting a little bit better crit chances, but also it's got a unique passive that is going to have 30% of triggering a chain lightning, and that just means that her laning phase and the minion kills are going to improve with this. Second item is here the Cleave Sancti, because we want to, of course, get her crit chances up to a number that is not even real for other champions, but also increase the damage that she deals. And then with the next items, with the Bloodbow and the Dawning Star, we're going to boost that crit chances even further, and trying to get as much magic physical penetration as possible. And you can also see that we're going to focus on that in the enchantment section, because with Axe of Sacrifice, Holy Verdict, and the Holy Summoner, we're going to boost her initial damage. With the Power Enhanced Restore, we're getting some utility so that she can stay in the fight a little bit longer. And Arcana wise, we are focusing on 10 times Atrocity for sure. As I said, crit, of course, this is the Arcana that you're going to use. In addition to that, we're going with Guerrilla for some additional attack speed, and we're going with Skewer for some additional armor pierce. So nothing has changed that much in comparison to her other marksman friends. And we're taking Sprint as a talent, which is actually quite unique, because normally you would take Flicker, but you want to focus on getting into the fights as fast as possible and have a chance to follow up, and also have a good tool to disengage, because the only disengagement tool that Capheny has is a really short dash on her S2, and therefore we're taking the Gilded Greaves here in order to make crowd control effect a little bit less dangerous. But that said, you still need to focus on your positioning, because she's actually quite squishy. So that was Capheny, and last but not least, we're going to talk about Tel'Annas in the last top 5 choices of my marksman section. So last but not least, we're talking about Tel'Annas as my last top 5 choice in the marksman section right now in the game. And as I already pointed out, in my opinion, she's actually quite beginner friendly. I mean, yes, she doesn't have any great tools to escape besides her S2 and her ultimate, which can put CC on the enemies, but you've got your talent Flicker to kind of dash through obstacles and reposition yourselves. I never had any great problems. Either you're completely dead because you're overrun by the enemies, or you still have some moments of repositioning yourself, so that should be good, or you're dead anyways. You can't really do anything against it. And what we want to do with her is to extend the damage that we have with the Rage Extender, and she can basically increase her range constantly by just pressing S1 all the time. making her a little bit faster, but also increasing her range by a huge extent, making it even easier to fight enemy heroes in the marksman section, because you will always have the range advantage if you're not fighting Elsu in his S2 state when he's trying to focus you, or Thorne, who's got the second best range in the game. So equipment wise, we're focusing on making her a little bit better in the dimensions that I was talking about. So you want to get more attack damage on the one hand, and and also more utility on the other hand, with some crits coming in. So we've got, of course, attack boots for additional attack speed. We've got the Sancti for additional crit chances and the crit damage. I think you can also already tell what I'm going to take in my Arcana, because it's quite obvious. In my builds, I would like to take the Beast, because it's helping you to get some life even faster, and that also works for minions and jungle creeps. And then we're going with that is Slick Stings for attack speed, critical chance and movement increase. And then we are finishing with the Fenrir's Tooth for 200 additional attack damage, because that's just going to put you on another level. Enchantment wise, with Raging Inferno, Deadly Claw and the Curse of the Death, we are focusing on getting more damage on a single point of target. And then with Enhanced Restore and Gunslinger, we are going to boost our stats a little bit further, while maintaining a little bit of durability or sustainability from the Enhanced Restore. In the Arcana section, coming with no surprise, we've got the Atrocity for some additional critical chance. The next item is Guerrilla for movement and attack speed, because as I always say in my builds, the more attacks you can dish out towards an enemy's face, the higher the chances that one of those attacks will be a crit, resulting in additional damage. And last but not least, Skewer. It's just the staple Arcana in the green section. Everyone loves to take Skewer for the additional armor pierce right from the start of the game. And as I said, with Flicker, you've got a good talent to reposition yourself, or try to escape, or even engage in fights that you want to use with your enhanced range coming from your S1. So that's my top 5, and now we're going to focus on some lovely gameplay where I was able to kill a lot of people. And that's what we're going to do. And I hope you guys liked it, and I hope you guys want to see more of that. And if that is the case, write it down in the comment section below. And thanks for watching, have a nice evening, and now be entertained by some lovely fights coming from the games that I've played so far.